Welcome everyone to our Summer 2022 Speaker Series. I'm Gloria Conjup, the Executive Director of the Hoffmitz Milken Center for Typography. This series is presented by HMCT in collaboration with ArtCenter's Graphic Design Department and highlights the work of 4 ArtCenter alumni. Our second speaker in this series is Yuma Naito, a graphic designer from Japan, currently a senior designer at Apple. Yuma graduated from ArtCenter in spring 2018 and has previously worked at Saatchi & Saatchi Design Studio. His work has been recognized and published by many of the leading organizations and awards such as Art Directors Club, One Show, Type Directors Club, AIGA, Adobe Creative Cloud, Creative Review, FastCompany, and Forbes. Yuma, thank you for joining us today, and everyone, please welcome Yuma Naito.
Thank you. Okay. Before I start, hello, my name is Yuma. I'm from Japan. I grew up in Tokyo. I was studying business in college there, and before I started like working, I was always thinking like I want to see something bigger picture. So I decided to come into the States. But before that, I grew up with this hip hop culture, and I have been a b-boy breakdancer for over 18 years now. So this is like a part of the reason why I was always interested in visual communication, non-verbal communication, I would say, and eventually led me to come to the States and study graphic design. This was very first graphic design-ish piece that I made with my dad's Windows in Microsoft Paint. As you can see, I didn't even know how to export them in high res, or I didn't even know the term high res, I guess. So everything is pixelated. I don't know what the typefaces are. It's circles are not circles, it's like a spiky balls, I think. And I don't know what I was thinking with all those graphics, but it's too bad. So like kind of looks fresh at this moment. And again, yeah, moved to LA 2011. I didn't speak any English, but I decided to just go to community college right away and surrounded by all these, people from all over the world and study graphic design from scratch. During that time, I interned at Saatchi & Saatchi, which is like an ad agency in LA. This is one of the projects that I worked on. It's very advertisement heavy. It's not like a branding or art direction that I do most recently. But then, yeah, the creative directors that I met there recommended me to come to ArtCenter instead of just graduate from Santa Monica College and start working. And that was the best decision of my life. So here, starting ArtCenter in 2015, I'll walk you through some projects that I did back in school. First term, narrative imaging. This was one of the most, I think, exciting projects. First time grabbing like DSLR and then just drive around, shoot some interesting stuff. Tracy was such an amazing teacher for me to kind of open up how to see different things in normal life. And this was one of my favorite. Just brought my chair to the ocean, sort of like reflecting, I think, where I was at the moment. Probably shot like 300 photos of this and then just picked the best one. I see Jado here on CD4. This is one of the, I think, eye-opener for me. I didn't necessarily do a lot of branding projects before this class, and I was not doing well in the first couple of weeks, like brand drivers and all those research things. I didn't get it. Like I didn't understand. I was trying hard, but I still didn't get it right. But once we started getting more, I think, more of visual making, started learning from classmates and Gerardo, obviously, like how to tell stories, introduce different systems out of symbols. And, I did SpaceX rebranding. And I was gonna just be done with this logo at the top left, but Gerardo was hinting me, not telling me everything, but hinting me, hey, you can do a lot of things out of this. And I didn't get that at first, but eventually I started seeing different shapes in that logo marks, and making some functional items like you see on the right. And that was sort of like first time I started understanding system, and logo is not the brand itself, maybe like the behaviors and other supporting elements in something that create branding voice. It was such a, I think, important moment for my ArtCenter life overall. During that time, I worked with other group of friends and did this TEDx branding. Oh, Gerardo was happened to be leading this project too. I didn't design this spread, but one of my good friends, Carlo Francisco, he's probably one of the best typographers I know. He designed this layout for this event. Very fun because you don't get to do a lot of group projects in our center, which I highly recommend. Type 5, this is the first class I took after my internship at Apple. I think it was around 5th term. In contrast to like what I did for CD4, I was thinking, what if the font or attitude or one typeface can represent everything about the identity and group of people and story of this Afropunk festival? It was really challenging project because that was first class coming back after internship, and getting into ArtCenter mode was pretty difficult, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I did a lot of new things that I didn't even think of before this class. Lots of things, lots of challenges, issues, but there's always like friends and, Brad helped me figuring out how to solve those problems. Believe it or not, so I did this installation for Type 5 using 2 projectors, 2 laptops, 2 processing sketches. But then before this class, I dropped the processing class like 3 times, I think, because I didn't like it at all. But when I had a passion, I somehow made 2 different sketches and make it work, survive from this class along with Type 5. It was really nice and rewarding project for me. After that, just ATS, doing the book about film director Akira Kurosawa, who is known for samurai films, getting ideas from his films, introducing this sort of like a slice gestures. Also, his sound design in the film was really interesting. So I wanted to introduce way to let the readers hear the sound of the film. So I tried something like this. Anyways, basically you can scan the book and then hear the actual sound. I'm pretty sure there's better apps or technologies in today's world, but that's something that I wanted to try in that class. And a little bit different from graphic design classes, this basics of photo was really fun. I decided to use a film camera or film grid as sort of like a collage canvas, and took 120 photos and just scanned them and place them together and create this weird visual. You can't miss any shot because everything needs to be in order. And I personally like to do things hands-on. So I made my shower room like completely dark and bought all the chemicals to develop the films on my own. And yeah, again, like another challenging project, but it was really fun. Learning not only making collages like this, but also like developing films on your own is really rewarding. Branding project for APS. This was also like kind of fun, but after doing a lot of like something like this is what I wanted to come back to graphic design related projects. And lastly, independent study. This is the project from my last term. I did with Annie. This was sort of a message to the students that that are still going to ArtCenter back then. Basically questioning our honesty in the creative process. So I would have some transparent books that really asked you like what your goals are, and are you really honest in your creative process and student life. I would have some messages that I hear in the classroom, some BS that you hear, and just put it on toilet paper. Just to remind ourselves, like, are we always lying? Are we, really giving the feedback that you think of, or just sugarcoating everything? So that's almost like my last message to ArtCenter. It was really fun. A lot of people came. I was really happy. But enough with ArtCenter. After that, I was talking to Apple because I was interning there, but I wanted to try something smaller. As I worked at ad agencies and something like Apple, I wanted to go smaller agencies. So I decided to go to Design Studio San Francisco. I think they are known for branding mainly. This is the Airbnb project that we did. It was really nice and friendly. Like the smaller agencies have this family vibes and really make you feel comfortable. You would watch soccer together, eat, drink on Fridays, or you would invite someone really amazing, like this typographer called Yuma Naito. He does a lot of like abstract typography like this, which is very, very beautiful. And we ended up creating a really nice relationship, and he's actually signed my recommendation letter for visa. Getting inspirations from like someone outside of ArtCenter or ArtCenter viewer work is something that's really important for me and always amazes me. I also did a little freelance, but this is one of the projects that I worked with Sean for V&A Museum London Design Week for this artist, BT Wolf. There are other designers from all over the world, including Eric Speakerman, who's been to ArtCenter, Lucian Roberts as well, and Atlas, and other amazing designers. And I was really lucky to be part of this project, making the album that has any NFT chip under the gold foil. I think that was like the first time that's been done in the history of graphic design. I like collaboration like this because you can always learn from different people all over the world. But then I started questioning my career. Hey, I was doing branding in an art, design studio, and then most of my freelancers are also branding related. And it felt like an extension of ArtCenter. I wasn't really growing too much. So I decided to come back to Apple, where we do a lot of art directions and image making. And that's something that I didn't learn much in ArtCenter. This is gonna be more practical, maybe a little lame, but there are things that I wish I knew back in school. So let me share a little bit of tips, I would say. Interviews and internship related topics. Have your stuff ready early. When I got an opportunity to intern at Apple, I didn't necessarily have portfolio website or PDF. I just had stuff on Behance for some design competitions because I needed to enter competitions to get visa. It's not like I'm competitive or anything, but and then that works out because I can share my portfolio right away, and I just needed like 2 hours to make a resume. If I missed that window, I probably didn't get the opportunity. So always make sure you have stuff ready. Loosely is fine, but you don't want to start making whole entire portfolio when you get the opportunity. So that's pretty important. Reach out to people. So this is something that's really important. I've talked to a lot of people who are going to ArtCenter, used to go to ArtCenter, even after I graduated. This is one of the examples. Me and my friend Carlo Francisco talking to one of the students there. I mean, he actually graduated from ArtCenter last term, and then we were doing this portfolio review because he reached out to us, and he ended up getting the spot at Apple. There are other students like Joe. I can name a few, but including next speaker, Hampton Dunlap. He emailed me before his internship, and then we had some conversation going on. So it's really nice to reach out to people and get their insights. It's not like we're gonna give you perfect feedback, but it's always get someone else's reaction. Know who you're talking to. This is something that Guillaume Wolf said. I think before you talk to the people, you should research. You should know their face. Just Google them and know their faces and then what kind of stuff they've done so that you feel a little more comfortable when you're hopping onto the Zoom call or interview. Authenticity is the key. So in Design Studio and Apple, I've been reviewed hundreds of portfolios, but somehow I see some tendencies of certain styles or certain layouts for PDF or websites. I think if you just be yourself, there's no way they would look alike. So maybe not avoid looking at other people's website and then really come up with something that works for you so that you can kind of stand out from the list, because most of the people are not just looking at your portfolio only, they've been looking at other candidates too. So make sure you have your own point of view, but don't over design it. And enjoy your free time and get inspired during the internship. ArtCenter is tough, but while you're doing internship, you have more time. So, and where do you get inspirations? That's difficult, right? I'll share my inspirations. Here's the video that shows. Anyways, so that was how people sample. Nujabes is one of the really famous producers for that. Turning into something that you find into different things, basically patchworking things, is really important skills, because you cannot always reference graphic design. You should always be open mind to photos, food, meat, or nature. Like I walk around the city of San Francisco and just find these like weird architectures. That kind of inspires me. Like those shapes are something that we don't see on design blocks. And colors are also unique to San Francisco buildings. And also maybe you can write. I mean, I write stuff in Japanese when it comes to poetry, but I've been writing some stuff that's in my head. Maybe this would sort of inspire how you think of different things. So try things out. I wouldn't recommend going on to design blocks. too often because that's gonna inspire not in the best way sometimes. But best art center experience was doing the teaching assistant, also having the best classmates. Your inspirations can come from your classmates, not the visual, but how they work, how they present, and how much they care about their craft. I was really fortunate to have all these. I mean, there's more, but they're just few images that I like from my friends. If you think about it, if you're just solving your problem, your design project, it's just that times 8 terms. But then if you start thinking about solving other people's problems, how many design issues that you can tackle, how many things you can learn. That's basically what I learned by being TA for quite a long time in different classes. I trained myself to solve other people's problems more and really pay attention to everyone's presentation. And eventually you have more knowledge to solve problems that's gonna come to you. So yeah, your problems times the 8 turns versus classmates design problems. If you do the math, it's pretty easy. So I would recommend start paying attention to other people's stuff. That eventually trains you as a good thinker or problem solver. Lastly, things I've learned in the industry. We're just focusing on design in our center, but you will see more stuff like strategy. That's pretty important. Legal documents always bothers you, but that's something that you have to deal with. Or building a relationship with the teammates, different departments, or vendors. Those are the people who will help you create what you want. So that's pretty important stuff. In school, quality is obviously important, but exploring more stuff is also very, very important, right? But I think in workplace, speed is more important. I personally spend more time thinking and spend only a little bit on creating some stuff. And what allows me to do that is I'm super lazy person, very, very lazy. So I like to be efficient when I make stuff. So this is one of the examples, just learn shortcuts, for example. This saves hours. And if you work fast, if you finish things quick, what's going to give you is you are most likely asked to do more projects, hop onto different types of projects that gives you more experiences. So stuff like this that we tend to ignore actually is really important. And solo projects is something that we do as a student, but team project, right? Obviously, learn to work with other people. And in your school, you want to find your own point of view and find your own way. But in work, you most likely want to share with others so the whole team can get better. Or when you learn a better way from other people in your team, you sort of have to learn to adjust yourself to others so that you are more open and flexible in the future. And also back in our center days, I used to think I have to do everything. I should be able to do everything on my own, processing, motion, website, posters. But then when you're in the industry, you have a lot of talented people who can make better motion for you, who can code better stuff. So don't limit your imagination by your own skill sets. You can always have somebody that can make it happen for you. And do what you love in school. I think our center is such a great school, but it's very difficult sometimes because projects are so deep. So do what you're passionate about. Again, I dropped processing so many times, but I could survive it because I love this project. I was passionate about the topic. So in school, I would encourage you to do whatever you're very, very passionate so that you don't regret. But in your field, trying to love what you do. Maybe there are some clients that you don't necessarily like. You can't always get big clients. You might be working on some companies that you're not necessarily interested, but trying to always find something positive or learning opportunities from those so that when it comes to your favorite type of clients or projects, you can shine even more. And lastly, this is second lastly. Also, yeah, work is not the only place where you can be creative. So a lot of us think, oh, the agencies that we are working at is going to be the only place that can make our portfolio. It's not true. I still take photos outside. Just get inspired. This could be a portfolio, or you can make your own book. You know, you don't need clients to make your portfolio and then be creative. I make music these days. I'm working on an album right now. Also, oh, this is so loud, sorry. This inspired me. I'm actually working on some branding project outside of Apple for my friend. I'm also making their soundtrack for Instagram Reels and things like that. So beyond the print or digital, now I'm designing a sound aspect of the identity, which is quite new and fun. So I'm expanding my design opportunities in this sense. But don't worry, I still make some traditional graphic design stuff like typeface here. And I always seek for opportunities to try new tools to really don't get too comfortable with what I have and trying to find new opportunities to, I don't know, do something fun with it. But yeah, life after school is pretty fun. Get excited and good luck. Little shout out to Vicky Lane, who is interning in my team currently. She's graduating next term, I think. I asked her some questions like what I should present, and her friend, and also she gave me some clues, you know, and then this presentation is basically made based on that. So thanks to Vicky and her friends and everyone. That's it.
Thank you, Yuma. Wonderful presentation. Oh my God. Everything you say is literally gold.
34 minutes, not bad.
If anyone have any questions, feel free to type in the chat or unmute your mic and ask Yuma yourself. First, we have one from Sihi. Do you have to learn new skills as you begin your career? And how do you approach your learning after graduation?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the stuff that I showed for Apple stuff, for example, that's a lot of 3D related. And specific software like Keyshot is something that we don't do in ArtCenter. I never had experience either. So you just gotta teach yourself sometimes. And, you know, I just want it to be useful as soon as possible. So in the first week of my internship, I always did some tutorials every night so that I can be like useful asset. So there are opportunities like some specific place like Apple, you have to learn some new software. Also Design Studio, I have to make some website mockup with like Sketch or graphic design is changing a lot, and then there are always new tools. So yeah, we have to be flexible to learn those new softwares or even analog stuff just to be relevant and useful and have fun.
Great. And next we have another question. How have you been able to manage burnouts? Any tips?
Oh yeah, that's a big topic. I mean, it was really big topic during the pandemic and also right now too, and also back in school. I cannot solve my burnout issues by myself. So I always talk to my friends and do something fun. Burning out to me happens because I keep thinking about one thing. So I would do something else. I wouldn't do any design related stuff and just forget about it and then come back when I'm in a good mood. If that cannot solve you, burning out happens naturally. Don't blame yourself. Just, you know, take your time and hopefully it's gonna, you know, be gone soon. But yeah, everyone's different, but that's my way of taking care of it. Just hang out with friends and forget about it.
Oh, can I ask a question?
Oh, Joe, yeah.
Yeah, hi, Yuma-san. So I'm working in the studio. I'm interning at the studio right now, and I wanted to ask, like, what's the thing that you were able to experience in the studio? I know you already kind of touched base on this, but what's the thing you like experience? What's the thing that you can experience in studio and not in studio versus like in the in like the Apple or like in the big company? And I also have like other question that like when you were interning, like what did you have in your mind or what were you conscious about? You already kind of touched base on the learning new skills, but other than that, if you can share that, that would be great.
Okay. Hopefully I can remember the second question, but let's see. Difference between smaller agencies and Apple specifically is I think the work. So in smaller agencies, you are doing design related sorry, I think I'm still asleep. Design related stuff mainly, but then also you have to figure out legal issues for envelopes, talking to partners, clients, do workshop, not only like design presentation, you have to do strategy. So there are a lot of stuff that we do outside of just creating stuff on with your pencil or Adobe. So you kind of lose time for your designing time because of that. Communications and all these actual practical things is something that you have to deal with, which could be really fun because without knowing it, you can't really do anything. But in contrast, at Apple, we have amazing producers and teams that figures out those things for us. So at Apple, I'm just focusing on designing, just designing storytelling. So I'm kind of privileged to do that in a way. To answer second question, I think I paid attention to how people present, because I'm not, and I wasn't a good presenter, and how they sort of design keynote deck is really interesting. Not visual, I think it's more like emotional connection to the story that they want to present. From intro, it's like a movie. Like where's your battle scene, or where's your intro? It was really nice to see how they present their stuff, and I'm very careful with words. That was really like nice for me to learn, and it kind of worked in school too after.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Next, we have a question from Glenn. Do you have any skills that have gone rusty since graduating? And do you ever design just to keep those skills sharp?
Typography, for sure. I'm still following some design foundries, new typefaces, or what's happening with the graphic design. But I personally tend not to like trendy graphic design. So I don't see that many design blocks, but I think I used to be able to lay out things with type a little faster than before, because I'm mainly focused on image making at work. So that will be one, but that's also the reason why I design typefaces in my spare time so that I don't lose it. But typography is definitely something that I feel like I need to get it back or improve.
Awesome. Now we have a question from Nayang. What was the software tool that you showed us in your last slide where the letters were sorting or floating around?
I knew it. That's my secret weapon. I regret that I shouldn't. I'm just kidding. It's called a vector raster. It allows you to create custom half tone with whatever the image or type. So the one I showed you was drawing ACCD with Comic Sans. That's it. Oh no, but you can use custom symbols or anything. So it's a nice tool. If your project and concept aligns to that tool, definitely try to use it. Have fun with it.
Vector graphics?
Vector raster.
Oh,
vector and raster. Yeah.
I'll definitely take a look after. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yuma. Does anyone have any last minute questions? Oh, Aaron asked, still dancing?
Yes, I still do. Try to get into shape.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yuma. We would love to see you at Art Center sometime, maybe even for a workshop. And
Oh yeah.
let me and Joe know if you're ever coming down. We'd love to grab lunch with you.
Oh yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
And we enjoy talking to students because we get inspiration. So feel free to reach out. You can find me on Instagram or my website that I haven't updated for 5 years. So yeah, feel free to reach out. And yeah, thanks for having me. It was great. Yeah, really nice to be back virtually.
Pleasure's ours. Thank you so much, Yuma.
Yuma,
Yeah.
it's Danielle. I just wanted to say thank you so much again for joining us, dear. It was so
Oh,
great
no,
to
of
see
course.
your face and to see
Oh,
you
yeah.
and hear you. So
Likewise.
you take care of yourself and we'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye, honey.
Bye. All right. Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Yuma.
everyone.